I never thought I'd be betrayed by the people who raised me with their own hands, but then again, maybe they never really raised me at all. My name is Nora Hayes. I'm 42, and the day my baby brother begged me to sell everything I built just to clean up the mess he made, that was the day I stopped pretending I had a family. They said I was too stubborn, too quiet, too different. But I learned to fix engines when no one fixed my heart. And when the people who always looked right through me came knocking, I showed them exactly what I'd built without them. What you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a reckoning. So stay with me. And let me know in the comments if you've ever had to walk away just to finally be seen. They said I came out with grease on my fingers and silence in my lungs. Even as a little girl, I didn't cry much, didn't fuss. I was the kind of child parents say they're grateful for because I never asked for too much. But somehow, I was always too much anyway. Too tomboy, too curious, too stubborn for a daughter. My brother Caleb was born 3 years after me, and from the moment he wailed into this world, he had all their attention. He was loud, charming, fast to smile, and they adored him for it. My mama, Louise, used to say, "You've got oil in your blood, girl." But Caleb's got shine, and in our house, shine mattered more. I liked taking apart radios and putting them back together, like the smell of rubber and the sound of engines. By 10, I could change the oil on my daddy's truck better than he could, but he never looked impressed. He just grunted, "Girls don't belong under hoods. Go help your mama with supper." So I did quietly. While Caleb got praised for wiping down his bike, I was scolded for coming home with grease on my shirt. When I turned 17, I got accepted into the Texas Institute of Mechanics full ride. They only picked 20 students a year. And I had worked for it. Spent summers in the scrapyard, studied until my fingers cramped, fixed lawnmowers for half the town just to learn how things ticked. I came home waving that letter like it was freedom. Dad didn't even look up from his newspaper. Mom said, "Mechanic school." "You really want to spend your life smelling like exhaust that night." I heard them whisper in the kitchen. "We can't afford both kids' futures. Caleb's got that chance at business school. He's got the people skills. Nora'll be fine. She always is." By morning, the choice was made for me. I was told I'd be taking a year off, help around the house, save up. "We'll figure it out," they said. But I knew what that meant. It meant I was the one they'd hold back because I didn't shine, because I didn't complain, because I'd never been seen as an investment. I packed my things that night, left a note on the kitchen table that said, "I may not shine for you, but I will build my own light." And I drove off in a rusted-out pickup I bought with tip money, leaving behind the only house I'd ever known because it had never felt like home. I didn't have a plan, just a tool set, $137, and a heart full of rage. But that was enough. It had to be. The first night away from home, I slept in the back seat of my truck behind a rundown diner off Highway 16. It smelled like stale fries and motor oil. But it was the first place I'd ever felt truly mine. I got a job sweeping floors at a mechanic's garage 3 towns over. No one cared that I was a girl. As long as I could lift tires and keep my mouth shut, I did both. For the next year, I worked 12-hour shifts during the day and studied carburetors by flashlight in my truck at night. I ate off-dollar menus and showered at a truck stop. No one called. Not once. But in that silence, I found something better than their praise. I found out I could survive. By 24, I had saved enough to lease a beat-up building on the edge of town, Nora's garage. It wasn't much, just 2 bays, 1 lift, and a front desk held together with duct tape and stubbornness. But it was mine. I poured everything into it. Worked on engines by day, ran numbers by night, learned business from books borrowed at the library. Slowly, word spread. "She's the best in town. Don't let the ponytail fool you." I had grease under my nails and pride in my spine. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. That's when I met Tyler. He was 13, thin as a broomstick, with shoes too big and a hoodie too small. He wandered into my shop one afternoon, watching me work like I was performing magic. "You need something?" I asked. He shrugged. "Just look in them. You fix things." I nodded. "That's what garages are for." He paused. "I break stuff. A lot." I handed him a wrench. "Then you're gonna learn how to unbreak 'em." Tyler came back the next day. And the day after. Turned out, he lived down the road with his grandmother. No dad. Mom in and out of jail. He wasn't in school that week. Said he got kicked for punching a rich kid. I didn't ask why, didn't need to. I knew that kind of anger. Knew what it felt like to be passed over. Looked through. So I taught him what I knew. How to clean tools, how to change oil, how to see value in broken things. He learned fast, smiled slow. And for the first time since I'd left home, I saw a version of myself I didn't pity but respected. Tyler became my shadow. Called me Miss Nora even when I told him not to. Started fixing up an old dirt bike with me, one rusted bolt at a time. He'd say, "You think it'll run?" And I'd always answer, "Everything runs if you rebuild it right." Maybe I wasn't a mother, but I was building something better than the life I came from. A place where the forgotten got seen, where broken things got another chance. And for the first time, I realized you don't have to come from love to become it. It was a Thursday morning. Sky hung low with Texas gray. I was underneath an old F-150 oil dripping like thick sorrow when I heard the knock. Not the kind of knock that says hello, the kind that says I need something. I wiped my hands, walked to the front, and there they were. Mama, Caleb. I hadn't seen either of them in 12 years. They looked older, tired in the eyes. But not humbled? Not even close. "Mornin'." "Nora," Mama said, like we had coffee yesterday. Caleb gave a half smile I recognized from childhood, the one he used when he wanted something before asking. I didn't speak, didn't invite them in. Caleb glanced around the shop. "You've done well for yourself." I crossed my arms. "Did you come to state the obvious or say something worth hearing?" Mama sighed. "Can we sit?" I shook my head. "Say what you came to say." And then Caleb dropped it. He'd made some bad investments. Over-leveraged his company, loans defaulted, equipment repossessed, and the bank had called in his line of credit. In short, he was losing everything. And they wanted me to help. "Just until things stabilize," he said. Mama added softly, "You've always been so resourceful. We figured you could help the family." The family? That word sat in the air like a bad smell. "You mean the family that left me sleeping in a truck while you paid for his private dorm?" I asked. "Nora, that was a long time ago." "No," I said. "It's exactly right now. Because the consequences finally caught up, and you think I'm your safety net." Caleb shifted. "You run a garage, not Exxon. We're not asking for a fortune." I smiled cold. "You're asking me to bleed for people who watched me starve." Mama reached out. I pulled away. "You made your choices. You told me I wasn't worth investing in. I believed you until I stopped." Caleb's voice sharpened. "You're really going to let your brother lose everything." "You're not losing everything," I said. "You're just not getting mine." They stood there, stunned. Mama whispered, "I thought you'd come home someday." "I did," I said, stepping back. "But turns out I built a better one." I nodded toward the door. "I've got work to do. Y'all can see yourselves out." They left without another word, and I stood there, alone again. But this time, I wasn't empty. I was full of something they'd never given me. Worth. The days after they left felt strange. Not sad, not angry, just clean. Like something old had finally been scraped off my soul. Tyler noticed it too. "You okay?" "Miss Nora," he asked one evening, wiping grease off his hands. "I'm better than okay," I said, handing him a sandwich. "I'm free." That weekend, we rebuilt the dirt bike. It roared like a beast by Sunday afternoon. Tyler whooped and did a victory lap around the shop. It was the sound of something earned. A week later, a letter arrived, certified, from a lawyer representing Caleb. They were formally requesting financial assistance, said it was a reasonable ask, given familial ties. I laughed, out loud. Then I wrote back 2 sentences. Family shows up before they need you, not only when they need saving. I never heard from them again. But I didn't need to, because life didn't stop. It bloomed. Tyler got into a technical apprenticeship. Jude and I hosted our first garage workshop for young women, and Nora's Garage became a name people passed along with pride. One afternoon, the local paper came to do a feature. They asked what made me start. I looked around at the machines, the shelves, the photos on the walls. Tyler with his certification, me with Grandma Eleanor years ago. Then I said, because I wanted to be the person I needed when I was 17. That quote ended up on the front page. That same week, Mama showed up again, unannounced, alone. I met her at the door. She looked smaller somehow. I saw the paper. She said, I nodded. I figured. She held a manila envelope. "This is your grandfather's land. We never did anything with it. I want you to have it." I didn't take it. "Why now?" She paused, then said something that made my throat catch. "Because you were right. We looked at Caleb and saw potential. We looked at you and saw work. But you built something he never could. You built it with nothing but your hands and your grit. And I see it now. Too late, but I see it. I didn't hug her. I didn't cry. I just nodded. Thank you, but I've already got everything I need." She left the envelope anyway. And when she turned to go, she didn't ask for anything, didn't expect forgiveness. And for the first time in my life, that felt like enough. Spring came late that year. The mornings were still cold, but the light lasted longer. Tyler was graduating his apprenticeship soon, and I was signing a lease for a second garage across town, Hayes & Co. That & Co. was for the kids who'd never been given a chance, just like me. On the wall of the original shop, I hung a new photo. It wasn't of Mama or Caleb. It was of Tyler in his first work shirt, and me, arms crossed, grease on my face, smiling like someone who finally knew what enough felt like. Jude brought over a bottle of cider one night. We sat on the hood of a pickup as the sun dipped low. "You ever think about going back?" he asked. I shook my head. "I'm not a visitor. I'm not the past. I'm the thing that came after." He raised his glass. To after. I echoed. Later that week, I found the envelope Mama had left, still sealed. I didn't open it. Not out of spite, out of peace. Because that land, that inheritance, that late offering, it no longer defined me. I walked outside, sat on the porch, and watched Tyler tighten the bolts on a customer's bike. He moved with confidence now, like he knew his place in the world, and I realized something. All those years I spent trying to be seen, I was never invisible. I was just too real for people who only knew how to love reflections. Now I had mirrors all around me. Not the kind that showed me who they wanted me to be, but the kind that reflected exactly who I'd become. On the anniversary of the day I left home, I wrote myself a letter. It said, "You did it. Nora." You made a home out of your hands. You raised a boy who wasn't yours. You built a business from a truck and grit. And when they came asking, you didn't give them your piece. You kept it. That's your legacy. Then I folded it, put it in my toolbox, right next to my first wrench, where it belongs. Not in the past, but in the hands of the woman who forged her future and never gave it away again.